everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 197. Before we get started with Nick Cannon, another Nick Cannon story. Yes, he has another child. My perspective's a little different on it than what is the common reception to these stories every 3 or 4 months. Before we get into that, in the last episode, I let you guys on a cliffhanger somewhat because I had to leave early. I had to end the recording a bit early to head to my interview, to an interview that I had, to a job interview that I had. Let's get into that because that was just a disaster, just to say the least. That's the summarized version. But, of course, I'm going to give you guys the detail as much as I, feel like is necessary. But let's get into that. So I think, when applying to different positions, you may find yourself reading the job description thinking, oh, okay, I could do that. Oh, okay, I could do that. Or, okay, this is new, but I could definitely do that, right? And it's an opportunity to demonstrate that you have these transferable skills and that you are interested in this position, in this role. And that was my mindset when even applying to said position. So this position, I'll just tell you guys that it's called project coordinator. And it is basically you're working with other stakeholders, or you're trying to work with other stakeholders, trying to either fundraise, event plan, put things together, coordinate for the specific project that I will be focused on, or that I at that time, if I continue with the process for that role, which I did not, but we'll get to that. So that is basically the role of this project coordinator in particular. Now, a number of red flags came my way when it came to this position and the interview process as well. So let's start off with when I finally received a call back, okay? Because I applied to that position at the start of the summer, early, probably late June. And I finally received a response from the lady who is the hiring manager, I guess, 2 weeks ago. Okay, so what? Okay, but sometimes that's normal. Sometimes the hiring manager don't get around to your application until maybe a couple of weeks later, which is I don't like that either. I still feel like, is this not a role that you want to be fulfilled? Is this not a role that you not want to already be just, fulfilled and moving forward into the onboarding process? Is this not? What's going on? But anyway, so I get a call from her. Mind you, I get this call on a Saturday. Ma'am, why are you calling me on a Saturday? So I pick up. No, I didn't even pick up. I did not pick up. When she called, I let it go to voicemail. I listened to the voicemail. She introduced who she was and the position that I applied for, and wanted to get to have me on the phone so we could further discuss. Okay, what? This is a Saturday though. So I call her right back. Fine, if you want to call me on Saturday, let's just go ahead and have this conversation. So I call her right back, and she gets to talking about what the position is, the details of it, and then she proceeded to ask me interview questions. It was an impromptu phone interview, y'all. And thankfully, I guess I'm quick on my feet, well enough to just be able to properly answer these questions. But it was just such a, I don't know, I feel like it could have been done better. So those were all just initial red flags. Why are you calling me on a Saturday? why after 3 months I finally receive a response. Then you call me on a Saturday, and then you hit me up with the impromptu live interview on the phone. So she's asking me, how would I work well with, what's my take on collaboration? And this role involves a lot of collaboration. So I answer that, I appreciate collaboration. I think collaborative work is effective, and it really helps effectively lead whatever project. I'm just going down a spiel. I'm answering the questions correctly. There's a couple of questions. So now it's time for me to then ask my questions, because I do have questions. I always, since being on this journey, I've been really just speaking up for myself and wanting to know what type of environment will I potentially be working in, what type of support is available or not available. I want to know as well as you can, so I could determine if I would like to proceed with this hiring process, because it is definitely a two-way street. And I think for so long, we've seen the interview process as just, I just need a job, right? I'm desperate, I need a job. And, considering my tone in some past episodes, I've definitely just allowed negative thoughts to just put me down and low vibrational, and making me feel like there is no light at the end of the tunnel, or I have no other choice but to accept this. But then eventually I snap out of it, and I realize that no, I am a great asset to anything. If you want me, you are in for a great treat. Just looking at myself as a prize, especially to employers. So I feel like in interviews, you also have the opportunity to demonstrate who you are and determine if who they are demonstrating is good enough for you. You may not appreciate how they're answering the questions. You may not appreciate the lack of response that they give to your questions. And I think that is definitely an attitude one should have, because you never want to approach any job with this desperate energy. You never want to approach any friendship, any relationship with a desperate, I just want to be with somebody, I just want someone to hire me. No, because you then find yourself in a situation where you're incredibly mistreated, incredibly disrespected, and now you feel yet again trapped, or you have no other choice. It just is desperate, low vibrational, and that is not of God. It's not of God. And I think since having some moments of just low vibrational feelings and thoughts, I thank the Lord snapped out of it and just started repeating who I am. No, I'm that girl, shout out to Beyonce. I'm that girl. I love that. The whole album really rocks. I apologize to any Beyonce listeners who may have felt that I left the ship, but I am back on the Beehive ship, okay? Wow. This album is incredible. Literally every song. And when you think of that song, I'm That Girl, which is literally the first song on the album, and it's a song filled with affirmations. It really is. I'm that girl. It's not the clothes that I wear. It's not the pearls that I rock. What else are her lyrics? It's not my man. It's not whoever I'm dating. It's not whoever I'm with, right? Even in friend groups. It's not any of that. It's me. I'm that girl, right? And it's not about being boastful or conceited or egotistical. None of that. It's about recognizing who the fuck you are. Who the fuck are you? You're that girl, or you're that guy, but you're that girl, you're that person who brings light into everything. You walk into a room and you command attention just naturally, just as you are. You're not commanding attention by being loud and boisterous and being just a fucking nightmare, right? But you you command attention because you have this inner spark. You're that girl. Shit. I have God's favor all over me. Seriously, all over, up and under, through, operating through, functioning throughout my life. I'm that girl. Every time I've been going through like different job interviews, whether in person or virtual, aside from the one that I was just talking about, but we'll talk about that some more. I'll get back to it. I promise I'll get back to it. But in another job interview, I kept getting complimented on just my character, just the essence that I bring, right? Not only were you complimenting me on how well I was answering the interview questions and my background, my qualifications, my relevant experience, right? But I was getting complimented on simply, wow, you have a great positive energy about you. One interview said that to me, one of a few so far. She said, you have a great positive energy. I love how refreshing and you're just like a breath of fresh air. What else she said? She was like, I'm so calm. Like they never met anyone as calm. And you know what's so ironic about that? I've gotten that many times. My previous employer said that I'm the calmest person she's ever worked with. What? Okay. No, but you know what? It's so funny because I get that compliment. I really do see it as a compliment because I do strive to come off and naturally be that way. But it's just ironic because internally, sometimes I'm not, right? I'm not as calm as you describe me as. I'm very much in my head. I'm very much anxious. I'm very much like, But on the outside, on the exterior, you're the calmest person. I just love you're so calm. I love your energy. You're so positive. Like, anyway, I say all this to say that speak life. Speak life, speak these affirmations. Go take a moment and listen to that song by Beyonce on this latest album. Listen to I'm That Girl. And just let yourself go high, okay? Let yourself vibrate on a higher vibration realizing and reminding yourself you're that girl. Okay, let's get back to this horrid interview that I was just talking about. So, it's not my, no, that song is popping. Damn. Okay, so what happened? Okay, so we have this live impromptu interview on the phone. Then she proceeds to schedule. She said, I'm going to email you in the next week regarding an in-person interview. Oh, no. Okay. Prior to that, actually. So when it got time we're on the phone interview. When it got time for me to ask questions, I was asking, one of the questions I asked her was, how would you describe the daily schedule of someone within this role? Because the term or the role project coordinator, that role, that name, that title is new to me. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. That title is new to me as far as I never held that title, but I have plenty of similar experiences for that role. Because, being an educator, you wear a lot of different hats. And I've managed different things. I've coordinated different things. So I could demonstrate that and transfer that skill into this new title. Anyway, so I was asking her that, wanting to get just an idea of what the day-to-day looks like. She could barely answer the question. She was like, well, it varies. The core hours are 9 to 5, but you could do 7 to 3, or you could it wasn't a clear set. Okay, here are the hours, 9 to 5 or 7 to 4, and you'll clock in On Mondays, we usually have our meetings. Tuesdays, we then go to different sites and present something to, like, give me specifics, or like give me just an overall general structure. Like, what is the structure within this role that is something that I would adhere to day to day? And her responses was just unclear. She's like, well, the hours are blah, blah, blah. And what else she said? She was like, it varies basically. So one day I may be on the phone making calls. On the other day, I just may be, doing office stuff. Like, I don't know. I really can't even tell you what she really said verbatim, because she didn't say anything that stood out, because nothing really was clear. So that bothered me. But I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just read the job description more intently and just imagine, right? I'll just imagine it, because you're not answering the question. So I'll just create a scenario in my mind in imagining it. Like, that's horrible, right? Whatever. So that's what I did. Then I went in to ask her if she could provide me any clarity on what the compensation package looks like. And mind you, I already know what it looks like, as far as the pay range according to what was shown in the site. So that was already present. But I always like to ask that question directly, because I want to know what the fuck is it in alignment with what is shown? Is there, is there opportunities for advancement? Like, what does that look like? What, is this a strict type of range? All that stuff. So anyway, her response was just, no, I don't have an answer for you for that. That's something directly with HR. What? I don't like that response, because I get it. You're not HR. You're not human resources, but you're the hiring manager, right? So you should have already spoken to human resources and received all of the information necessary for when the applicant decides to ask you that question. You have a response. Your response should never be on some, I don't know, the HR would know that or have an answer for you. Like, okay, anyway, so let's fast forward. I'm meeting with them in person, right? So going back to Friday. So going back to, or not Friday, well, the day before I record. So going back to the day of the recording, and when I left you guys on a cliffhanger, dun, 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 I was running late. I ran, and mind you, late was literally 2 minutes over, but it's still late, and I still take that, as my fault to blame, whatever. So, but prior to, because I already knew, like, okay, it looks like I'm running late, I decided to let her know. Like, I texted her, because in her email exchange to me, she said, text me if you need anything, or, text me, whatever. So anyway, I texted her letting her know I'm running late, and her response was, no worries, we'll just start at 3:15. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. She said, no worries. I'm like, okay, well, I appreciate that. But then I was kind of looking at it like, no worries. Bitch, I'm fucking late, right? Even if it's just 2 minutes over, even though I still made it considerably at a good enough time, right? Like, it wasn't like embarrassingly late. It wasn't 3:15. I came in. It wasn't 3:30, right? It wasn't like, oh, I'm still trying to make it in, but it's 4:00. It wasn't any of that, but it was still late. And I just figure, like, I don't know. I just very strict on time. And if I'm an employer and an applicant is saying that she's late, even if it's just 2 minutes over, I'm still kind of like, I don't know. Like, that may be a red flag on the other end. But anyway, her response was just kind of, even though it made me feel like, okay, well, at least I was forgiven, right? And the whole no worries, I felt like her tone in the text message it felt comforting, right? But I also just felt like, what type of environment is this that it's okay with me? Like, I was looking at it from that angle too. Like, even though it was to my disadvantage, I was still looking at it from the employer's perspective or just the environment present. Like, is this an environment that values time? Is this an environment that just respects and honors time of everyone? Do they run over meetings? Do they include work hours or add work hours that were not agreed upon initially? That just makes me feel like, what kind of environment is this? Is a toxic work environment? All from that. And I reminded myself, like, oh my goodness, when she first called me, it was on a Saturday. And that tells me some more, like, dang, is this an environment that they'll call you at whatever time, whatever day, right? Off hours, off duty days to complete a work assignment? Like, I don't know if I'm into that. And not even, I don't know. No, I'm not into that, and I wouldn't appreciate a work call after work hours or on a off day. So it just made me feel like, I feel like there are no boundaries with this job, and there is no respect or honor to time. Okay, whatever. So she said, no worries. We'll just schedule the meeting at 3:15. Let that be the official start time. So I said, okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I arrived there at 3:02. I made sure to check in and everything, and I got there at 3:02 doing so. So I was checked in. The front desk lady already knew that I was here. She relayed the message. I was checked in at 3:02. Okay? I'm seated in the waiting area, and it's, the new time to interview is 3:15, remember? The time is going by, and look, I get it. The time is now the new time for the interview is 3:15. Sure, we could start at that time, but I just feel like if I'm here now, let's just fucking start, right? That's what's going on in my head, but maybe I'm just being selfish. But okay, fine. So this is one lady, she walks around, she sees me, she's like, oh, hi, how are you? I said, hello. I said, hi, hi, I'm Maxine, I'm here for the interview. I'm not saying, I'm just paraphrasing, I'm not speaking like that to them. So anyway, so she introduces herself quickly, but she's just like walking by. And I didn't assume that she was one of the 3 people who I will be interviewing with at this interview, because I was told by the lady on the phone that I will be interviewing with 3 people, with a team of 3. So I didn't realize, or I didn't think it was going to be her. She was going to be one of them. She's walking through with rainbow locks in her hair. What do you mean, Maxie? Like, her hair is in the color of the rainbow. In the colors of the rainbow. Hey, your personal expression, that's fine. But I just noted that in my mind. I don't know. I'm looking at every detail like, okay, whatever. Do what you want. I'm noticing also just the casual lacks of movement. Now, what I mean by that is I am a fast walker. Okay? One thing about me, and that I've always been told to, like, I remember being in college, my roommate who just always kind of lags her feet. Oh my gosh. Like, girl, can we fucking go? Can we go? Can you pick up your feet and walk? She would always lag her feet, and I would just naturally walk as I do, and I walk fast. Like, I'm on a mission. I'm on a hunt. I'm here to accomplish a goal. What's up? She would always say, dang, you walk so fast. I'm like, you walk so slow. Why are you just like barely picking up? Are you a turtle? Are you a turtle? Oh, I hate that. Anyway, I'm still the same way. I'm still walking fast, and I walk on a mission. Like, I'm walking with posture. Like, I know how to walk. Okay, especially if I'm trying to impress you. Like, I'm walking, I'm not slouched over, I'm not barely hanging on. Like, it's just weird. And look, I get it. Like, sure, she's already an employee there. She probably doesn't have to impress anyone anymore. But her lacks in her posture was just it was just too casual for me. There was no pride in her step. Maxine, you're pussy there. I don't care. I look at everything. Why isn't your head up? Why don't you have a smile? Like, is this job beating you down? Like, are you happy here? Are you happy here? You know, like, I just didn't like how she was walking. I didn't like how you walked, so I said no to the job. But yes. So it's not just her, but there was someone else that I saw too, who she was just barely she was just gliding her feet and barely getting through. It was just like very like just like church lady. You know, think of a church lady who's just passing through the aisle to get to her seat. Like, I felt like they were walking like that. It was just like, okay. So I'm seated, waiting for the next step, right? Waiting to be greeted by whoever I was speaking to on the phone. I still haven't met her. And I was waiting for a good 10, 12 minutes. So it's 3:15 at this point, and I'm still seated in the waiting area after being checked in, after being greeted by two different employees walking by, gliding by, barely picking up their feet, barely smiling, barely walking with posture. Like, pick up your fucking neck. Like, why aren't your shoulders pushed back? Like, when I walk, like, you gotta, even while I'm seated with y'all, or like, you know, during this recording, my posture is straight up, okay? My shoulders are pushed back. I am postured correct. Like, show some respect to your vertebrae. You know? Like, it's just weird. They were just super slouchy and just like walk with some confidence. Like, I gotta teach a walk class. Do I have to teach a walk class? Huh? Do I have to teach a posture class? What's going on today? Anyway, so they're walking barely walking. So it's 3:15. Okay, 3:15. Nothing has been done. I'm seated there. I'm just like, okay. So finally, the rainbow lock girl, she finally escorts me to the boardroom in which the interview will be taken. And she's like, oh, I just want to bring you in here. I don't want you just sitting out there aimlessly, you know, waiting. Like, she was saying, like, she literally said it like that, like, aimlessly waiting. Like, what do you mean aimlessly waiting, bitch? I'm waiting for y'all. Well, at that time, I didn't know she was gonna be one of the people who was gonna interview me. So, okay, so I just accepted that. And I felt a weird energy with her. Maybe I'm being too empathetic right now, but oh my God, mama. Look, I'm talking to myself. When I talk to myself, I call myself by my name. No, but seriously, I felt like I didn't like her a lot. I didn't like her energy or how she came off. It just felt fake. Like, she wasn't really this. It felt like she was trying to be this. Hi, how are you? Like, she was trying to do that, but it just didn't come off genuine. Now, look, I get it. Not everyone is enthusiastic naturally. Not everyone has that energy, but there's a way to demonstrate a level of enthusiasm or positivity without coming off very fake. And she just came off very fake to me. I remember when she I had to fill out this form. Like, how you immediately giving me a form to fill out for background info, you know, making sure I'm not a criminal or anything, but I'm not, like, you didn't give me the job. Like, why are you, like, before you, I don't know, it's not like after being offered a position. I think so, because in previous positions, it was always after an offer was made, okay? And then you're given a criminal background form to complete. Anyway, I was given that form right at arrival, right upon arrival. I was given that form. I just filled this form out. So I filled it out. So I filled out the form. And so she took the form from me, she took the form from me, and she looked over, like, she briefly glanced it because of course the first line is first and last name. And she was like, oh, hi, Maxine. Like, she said that, which was weird because I thought I introduced myself a moment ago when you first walked by, but okay. So when we shook hands, I I just felt like she just had this expression on her face. Her eyes just kind of felt like, I felt like she was looking at me up and down type of thing. Not some like sexual thing. I don't think it was anything like that. I know I said rainbow locks, but I don't think she was trying to look at me like that. I just felt like she was trying to size me up. Like, hi, Maxine, like type of thing. Like, I don't know. Her energy came off like that in my perspective. So finally, she escorts me into the room. I'm seated in the room. It's 3:30 at this point, y'all. I'm not lying. The new scheduled time was set for 3:15. It's now 3:30. Huh? So I'm just like, what the fuck, man? So finally they come in like 2 minutes later. And it's all three of them. They close the door. Again, they're gliding in. What else? So they're gliding in, barely picking up their feet. Maybe it might be a big girl thing too. Not even, because my college roommate, she wasn't a big girl. But anyway, so they're gliding in, barely picking up their feet. They finally sit down, introduce who they are. But prior to the introductions, they're walking in keying with each other, y'all. What do you mean by keying? Laughing with each other about some inside joke that they've already laughed about before they walked into the boardroom. Okay, so apparently Rainbow Lock Girl, she was impersonating, I don't know, she was like doing a joke about, what was she joking about? She was just like there was an inside joke that they were joking about. And then the head lady, the one who I was speaking to on the phone, she was like, oh my gosh, like she's like breaking down laughing. And she's like, excuse her, Maxie, she is crazy. Look at the people I gotta work with. She is crazy. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? What is going on? Like, they're laughing about something I don't even know. I don't even know what is the joke? What? I'm sorry, what's the joke? Hello? Is the joke here? Did I miss the joke? Is it over my head? What's the joke? So they're laughing about nothing. And it's lasting for a good 5 minutes, y'all, before a professional job interview meeting was set. So now they finally stopped joking. And like this Rainbow Lock Girl, she while she was joking with the other two, she was like doing these like impressions and like her facial react, like just like a big ass personality, which is like fine, express yourself, fine. But I just felt like this is not the time. Like, come in professionally. Like, we're already starting off on the bad foot. We're already starting 20 minutes over time, at least, and you're gliding in the room, joking about an inside joke. Are you on drugs? Like, what's going on? Oh, that was such a bad impression. But I'm just like trying to play it off, whatever. So I'm seated there, and what happened? So she introduces herself, and the other two introduce themselves, and they're all project coordinators, but for a different project. And okay, cool. So now we get into the whole tell me about yourself. We always start off with the tell me about, where's my fucking resume? Tell me what you've learned about me. I should spit it around sometimes. Anyway, tell me about yourself. So I get into, mind you, here's the thing I realized I could have done better, right? I'm always reflective. Here's what I felt like I could have done better. I felt like because many of the previous roles that I've interviewed for really valued the specific responses I gave that demonstrated just like my qualifications and my experience in and out the classroom, and my leadership experiences, and like I felt like my previous responses were all in alignment with those jobs, okay, with those job descriptions. And for this one in particular, I realized that this job description, though I do have transferable skills for it, like for a project coordinator, this job in particular really focused a lot about event planning and coordinating events and managing different projects. And even the interview questions that she was asking me focus about, tell us about a project that you worked on, and you had to take up the slack of a fellow colleague, or tell us about a project that didn't work out so well, but da 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 da, or an event that you was taking the lead on. And it focused more so on that. And I could have, in that first question or that first prompt of tell me about yourself, I could have, instead of like rehearsing and delivering the speech that I've done in previous job interviews that worked for them, I should have modified it for this position, focusing on the job description itself, right? So I should have said, for the past 10 years, I've been an educator, and not only have I educated to diverse, obviously talking about realistically what I've done in that role as an educator, but also focusing on what projects, what events have I been a part of, have I led, have I coordinated, because that would have been more in alignment with this job description. And I did not do that. I did not do that. Like, all of the responses I gave was not that, y'all. So that definitely wasn't a good look for me, but whatever. I still pushed through. So they kept on asking me the questions. Some questions I did answer. I felt like I answered it correctly. And of course, while you're answering, they're taking notes. So like when they ask about, gotta make up some stuff too. Like, tell us about the time when, you had to complete an event and you had little time to complete an event. Or like, because I've done events, you know what I mean? Like I've coordinated events in my role as an educator, in the past 10 years as an educator. Like, I've done events. It's just that I didn't rehearse my answers in remembering what those events were and pointing out the things that I've done that was successful in those events coordination. So it's not like I haven't done events. It's just I wasn't, like, it was in the forefront of my mind. Like, I did not prepare for that specific. So, of course, that's on me. But, there were some questions that I answered that I felt like I did a better job in. Anyway, when it got to the part of if you have any questions that you would like to ask, go ahead and do so. I then asked, what is the infrastructure do you have in place to support someone in this position? And their responses were so discouraging, you guys. I felt like, yeah, this is definitely not the workplace for me. Like, this is not the workplace I want to be in. One of the Rainbow Lock girl, who definitely, I didn't like her at all. I just did not like her. I felt like she's someone who causes drama in the workplace and tries to befriend the colleague or the superior who is, more of that gatekeeping position, just so she could be, just so she could feel safe in her position. Because I remember she said a comment. She's like, "Well, I mean, it's a good place. I haven't gotten fired yet." It's like, why are you even talking like that? Like, why are you even saying you haven't gotten fired yet? What have you done for you to think that you may, or that you could have gotten fired for? Like, like that. That made me kind of cringe, like, ooh, what'd she say that for? Why did she say that? Anyway, so she, when I asked that question, what infrastructure do you have in place to support someone in this position? She said, nothing, it's all on you. That's literally what she said, verbatim. And she said it in that tone, y'all. Like, she said it in this, like, very sarcastic, just dismissive, attitude ass tone. Like, girl, are you okay? Like, do you have an attitude right now? Like, did I do something to you? Like, why are you speaking to me like this all of a sudden? Like, it's like all of this, like the initial, even though I knew it was fake, y'all. See, I'm a good reader of energy. I knew it was fake from the beginning, when her whole, like, trying to smile and like, hi, in her introduction, I just knew that shit was fake. So when she finally showed who the fuck she is, and said it in such a dismissive and sarcastic tone that no, it's all on you, there's no support, da, 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 da. She had to play it off and be like, I mean, look, da, da, da. So she played it off. She tried to play it off, but I still accepted it for what it was. She was just saying basically that it's really all on you. Like, you know, you're the only person that can really push forward in this position. Everyone is focused on their own thing. There isn't a team of people who you will be working with, which is weird to me because in my initial phone interview, the lady was talking about collaboration is big in this role. So what the fuck are you saying? Okay. So she's just saying there is no infrastructure, there is no training, there is no onboarding process aside from like the logistics, HR, you know, that typical stuff, like knowing the protocols of, you know, working in this workplace, right? That's obvious. But as far from that, there is nothing in place to support someone in this position. And I'm like, okay. Then the lady who I spoke to on the phone, she responded to the question, was saying, what she said, she was just basically like, look, you know, if you have a question, I could help you with that. You know, she's saying it in this tone, y'all. I'm not even like hyping this up in a way. No, she's saying it in this tone. She's like, well, you know, if you need to know, like, you know, who to get catering food from, I could give you an idea, but it's really all on you. I'm not going to teach you how to event plan. You know, you need to come in here already knowing how to event plan. Da, 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 da. And it's like, that's not the point. Like, look, I hope that question didn't, and it shouldn't come off like I'm asking to be coddled, right? It shouldn't come off, me asking that question shouldn't come off like, I need you to baby me every step of the way. I want you to micromanage me because I don't know what I'm doing. No, it shouldn't. That's not the point of what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, what the fuck are y'all doing to support someone in any position? Really? Right? Because if it's really an autonomous role, then why am I even clocking in? You know, why am I working in person? Right? If it's really just an autonomous role that y'all trying to act like it is, I don't need to sit in this cubicle ass office. And that's another red flag. The whole building is dreadful. Dreadful. Like, I do not feel warm and welcomed and at peace in this workplace. Okay? It does not feel like a workplace that I am excited to be in. Okay? So if y'all want to act like there's no collaborative work, then why the fuck am I here? I can do this shit at home. So anyway, yes, that really turned me off. Like, I hate that. Look, you know, I love an environment where it is an environment that is conducive, that is team work, that is collaborative, as much as I love an environment that allows you to demonstrate your leadership skills and be the leader that you are. Like, I don't want to be micromanaged at all. I just like to know that there's a team or there's someone in place who can support me when I need support, you know? So I feel like if anything, they should have like explained it in a sense that they don't have it. But I feel like if anything, they should have something in place where, you know, there are previous records that you can access if you need an idea of how projects were done previously. You could take some inspiration from that and customize it accordingly for this project. Like, that could have been a better response, right? If they said something like that, then I would have been more appreciative of that. But the way that they responded to that question, y'all, I was so disgusted. I was disgusted. Just say it with me, disgusted. Like, that is so disgusting to me. Like, how are you making me feel excited about this position, or, excited about this opportunity to work here, when you make me feel like there is no excitement here, there is no joy, there is no support, there is no collaboration? You better figure it out, and you better do it well. Like, what? Like, I don't want to feel like I'm constantly under pressure. But what's funny though, when I ask, because I'm asking questions, right? Like, I'm not going to be a church mouse and be like, oh, I don't have any questions. No, bitch. Here's the 5 questions that I'm going to ask in this order. So then I asked, how would you describe the day-to-day here? And that rainbow lock girl, I couldn't stand that girl. She's talking about, what she said? She was like, knowing chaos. That's what she said. She was like, chaos, basically, navigating your way in chaos. Like, what? Why are you telling me this? Like, why is that it? And she was just like very painting it as much as this negative thing, like this negative brush. Like, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of confusion, and da 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 da. And I think she was realizing that she was coming off very negative, because she finally said, yeah, it's all worth it though, or let me stop, it's not that bad, they haven't fired me yet. And that's when she said that part. And it's like, okay, that was supposed to be the silver lining. Well, they haven't fired you yet, girl. Let me feel good about this position. What? So she said all of that. The other woman, because I said there's 3. Sorry, my nose is itchy. The other woman, she I liked her. I liked her energy. I thought she smiled, and it was a genuine smile throughout the interview. She was nodding her head and receiving what I was saying. It seemed like she was impressed with what I was saying, even though some of my just background descriptions may not have been directly aligned with the job description, or I didn't explain it as such. I still felt like she was an encouraging spirit in the room. So I liked her. Something about her I liked. So yeah, I really like that about her. But anyway, so they got on to asking me these scenario questions, which was fine, but just annoying. It's just annoying. Like, this whole process is annoying. And I also asked, what characteristics or what qualifications do you believe is required to be successful in this role, to excel in this role? The rainbow girl lock. I was saying girl lock. Of course she's a girl. The rainbow hair lock girl was like, knowing how to talk. she said, I don't know, she's trying to like be shady towards me. Like, bitch, I know how to fucking talk. You don't know how to talk, because if that's how you answer the question, then you definitely don't know how to talk. And she had to explain. She's like, what I mean by that is just knowing how to talk to different people. You're going to meet different people, knowing how to, like, obviously I'm going to, like, girl, what the fuck are you saying? Duh. But she could have said it better. You know what she should have said? She should have said, knowing how to effectively communicate to various groups of people, knowing how to match the needs of others by provide, like, she could have said it and articulated it so much better than saying, knowing how to talk. Girl, do you know how to talk? Do you know how to spell talk? It's not talk with a W, it's talk. Dumbass, like, with your dumbass rainbow locks. What the fuck is going on? What's up with your hair? Why do you have 5 different colors? From the root to the ends. Why do you have 5 different colors? Shit. Girl, I just could not. It was just a horrible experience. And honestly, there was a point when I was at my 3rd scenario fucking question. And I really was thinking to myself, like, you know what? Should I just be like, you guys, thank you so much for your time. But I realized that I am just not in alignment with this position, and it does not align with my career goals. Like, I should have just I don't know. I should have just said that, but I didn't want to do that because I felt like it could open the door to an attitude that I just did not want to deal with. Like, I did not want them to be like, okay, well, you could have said that earlier. We gave you the job description. You wasted our time. Like, I didn't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with any type of conflict, honestly. That'll be the first time experiencing something like that at a job interview, and I don't want that first time experience. Like, I don't want to deal with that. So I just felt like, let me just like push through and then tell them, nah, never mind, but I definitely was thinking that. And I wonder, do people do that? Like, have people done that in the middle of an interview and said, you know what? Never the fuck mind, because y'all doing too much right now. Y'all playing with me right now. Y'all off y'all rockers right now. I don't have time for this. So I don't know. So I was dead ass thinking that. But I was thinking, like, at the very beginning of the interview, the lady who I spoke to on the phone, she handed me a printout of the job. And in that printout, it listed all the description, just bullets for this position. And she then asked me, is this accurate? After reading the job description, will you be able to complete the job effectively? And I said yes. I immediately said yes. I didn't immediately say yes, but I like rushed through reading it. Even though I read that same printout prior to her printing it out, because I read it online, which is why I applied. Like, I see it already. And I think also, so yeah, I said yeah. And that was a clear out, right? That was a clear opportunity for me to be like, you know what? No, never mind. But I didn't want to do that because I wanted to just go through the interview, right? Maybe during this interview, I can be so impressed with the job and the workplace that I would still be interested in completing this hiring process, right? So it wasn't like I was going to immediately take that opportunity and be like, you know what, never mind, I don't want to do this anymore. I was going to still give it a fair shot. And that's why I kept going. Like, let me just give it a fair shot. Let me just go through this interview. And if I don't like it, I'll just tell her afterwards. So that is why I didn't just say, you know what, never the fuck mind in the middle of the interview. So, and another red flag is I felt like the way that they were doing things was so old school, so antiquated. Like, first of all, why are you printing out the job description? Of course I fucking read it. Like, I didn't just blindly apply to this position. Like, why did you print it out? She probably just literally just printed out right before she walked in, 20 minutes late, and thought that was cute. Like, okay. So that, and then, you know what? Another thing, prior to me arriving to this interview, in the email exchange, she said, please bring with you 2 copies of your current resume. And I felt that was odd because this is 2022. What do you mean print out a resume for you? I've already filled out the application online. You already have access to the resume I provided this application with. You have it. You can't just print 2 more copies for your fellow colleagues to review during this interview. I have to print. I have to go out of my way, find a print. Who has printers? I don't have a printer. And thankfully my complex here allows for me to send them a print job for them to print free of charge. Thank God. But my goodness, like, I would have had to have gone to UPS and pay fucking $6 because, they charge you $125 per minute, basically. Like, it's like, girl, I could email you my resume if you don't have, like, what do you mean you don't have my resume? And mind you, when I was there, and ever since I submitted my application for that job, I revamped my resume. So now my resume looks really like, I really like my resume now. It looks so good. But the resume that I gave her initially was previous to that revamp. It's still a good resume, but it's not as detailed as the one I have currently. So during the interview, I noticed that she has a printout of that resume, of that previous resume. So you mean to tell me you already have my resume, which of course I knew you did. Why the fuck do you, like, maybe it was like, oh, well, she did say current resume, but that's still stupid to me, because the point is you have a copy of my resume. You only had your copy, because she obviously didn't print out 2 extras for these other 2, which is why she told me to bring 2 copies of my current resume. And I had to go out of my way. Like, that is ridiculous. That is some 1998 shit. Ain't nobody got time for it. Girl, everything's online. And then me asking about, is this, what type of position it is, and X, Y, Z. She's like, oh, it's in person. The way that she answered the question was very just matter of fact. It's in person. Like, you better come in. She was like, it's definitely in person. Like, I don't know. Like, it just felt very old school, very antiquated, very dreadful, very dreary. The workplace, just the physical environment is unwelcoming. Like, and I just was trying to imagine myself working in here. And I remember sitting in the waiting room, looking around, seeing cubicles, y'all. I haven't been in a cubicle in years. Okay. Like, what is this? Like, what? And then the walls were just this like faint yellow. It needed a cleaning. It needed a repaint. It needed a whole paint job. And I'm over here thinking like, yo, I will really be working in this workplace every day in person from 9 to 5? Oh, I'm jumping out this window right now. Like, what are we talking about? Not funny, Maxine. Suicide's not okay. No, but it's not okay. Like, I do not want to work in this environment. So, anyway, I'm looking around. It's just like very dreary. Everyone's just like barely picking up their feet to walk. Like, I would be so depressed working there. And and just as much as I felt like I didn't do too well in my responses, to certain questions, not to all, because I'm not gonna give myself all the slack. I definitely answered some questions well, but again, some of them I did not answer as well as I could have, because I didn't prepare. I didn't modify and customize my prepared responses to typical interview questions for this role, because I didn't focus on specific event planning that I've done previously. And I have done event planning in my previous role, but I just, for some reason, didn't click for me to prepare specific responses for that. I don't know why I didn't do that. But maybe that was me subconsciously not giving a fuck about this role. Like, not really wanting to obtain this position. Anyway, so yeah, just as much as I felt like I didn't respond the best, I felt like they didn't respond the best either. And it definitely left a bad impression, just a horrible taste on my mouth. And I was just really taken aback at how horrible the process was. Like, the whole interview process, from the rooter to the tutor, I just did not like it. I definitely didn't like the mood, the energy in the room, that rainbow lock girl. I didn't like their responses, the lack of support, the lack of clarity, just the lack of structure. It seems like just like the questions that I asked, I expect a clear response, and the fact that no clear response was given is just a big ass red flag. I like to work in clarity. I like to work with structure, for the most part. And I, as much as I respect autonomous roles, I also appreciate opportunities to support or be supported in areas where I may not be as confident in. I'm not asking you to coddle me. I'm not asking you to just baby me through it or walk me through it, but like, can you give me a fucking tutorial, bitch? Like, can you? I'm not gonna teach you how to event plan. Okay, thank you. Thanks for telling me what you're not going to. And that's the worst way to answer a question, by telling someone what you're not going to do. right? I'm not gonna help you event plan. She's like, I'm not gonna help you event plan. I'm not going to teach you how to event plan. She was listing all the things that she's not gonna do. So what are you going to do? Huh? What do you plan on doing to support me in this role? Because not once did anyone respond and say ways that they plan to support me in this role, however little or maximum they can. But not once did they started off with a list of nots. So all I remember are the nots and the few wills, like, oh, I can, oh, I will help you with if you need the number for catering service. That's what you'll help me with? Bitch, I could Google a catering. I don't need your help on that. The point is, like, maybe there's a model that you guys follow, right? Maybe there's an Excel spreadsheet that you guys have been using throughout the years that have been successful. You could provide me with that template. That's something like that you could say. Like, say, I could provide you with a template of how things were done previously. And here's where the autonomy falls into place. You can customize it to your advantage for this project that you'll be spearheading. See how I fucking answer that correctly? I'm not saying what I'm not gonna do. Well, I'm not gonna, and you're not gonna, like, okay, well, what I'm not gonna do is continue this hiring process. Okay, so anyway, I got home. And after further review, I decided to say, you know what? It's going to be a no for me, dog. And here's how you do it. You send a polite, professional message, very short and sweet, in declaring that you will no longer be participating in this process because you are withdrawing your application. So here's what I said verbatim. From what I can remember. I don't feel like going through my emails. But basically, I started off by saying, I hope this message finds you well. After further consideration and reflection, I have decided to withdraw my application for this position because it does not align with my career goals. Period. That's it. Like, we don't have to go into details. And I wanted to say career. I wanted to still say that. I know some people may think you could have just said, I'm deciding to withdraw my application, period. Have a nice day. But now I want to say why. And this is a broad enough explanation, but it's still clear as to why. It still answers the why, because I like to give an answer. So I said, it does not align with my career goals. And that is the truth. I want a position in which, yes, there's autonomy, but there's also a support system in place. I want that infrastructure to be well structured, right? I want that to be in place. I want clarity on day-to-day and the structure. I want a conducive, collaborative, encouraging work environment. And your answers to the questions that I ask regarding the work environment does not make me feel like this environment is encouraging and collaborative and welcoming. None of that. Like, even before I even asked that question, I immediately felt it in the room. Like, yeah, this is not the environment that I feel like I could excel in. And honestly, this is, to be honest, and not even on some conceited shit. I'm really not. But I was looking in the environment. I was looking at the workplace. I was looking around. All the people I saw were majority women, older Black women, probably in their at least 40s, bigger sized, okay? Probably just kind of like, you know what? It is what it is. This is who I am. Like, just kind of like set in their ways and not interested in some young woman coming in, dressing up, all professional, looking cute. Mind you, I'm looking good, right? And this is just my style, right? Obviously, you look good on your professional, interview, but this will be my style regardless, right? Every day I walk into the workroom and I'm in some heels. I'm wearing just a nice, pair of slacks, nice. I love me a dress. Okay. I could have like a whole closet full of dresses, like wearing yet another dress. And what they were wearing was just very much not that. Okay. Like there was a lack of effort. And I'm just being honest, y'all. There's a lack of effort. One lady, she's wearing this polo top, which is like fine, but like, okay. Like, okay. But like everyone just kind of wearing this like moo type of outfit. And I'm just like, oh. Anyway, like what I say all this to say, you don't want to be the woman in a workplace who is always the only one most fashionable. You don't, because you know why? You're then going to ruffle the feathers of that insecure older black woman who doesn't like younger black women in their environment. Seriously, that is a real thing. There are a lot of older black women who don't care for younger black women who are fashionable, who are beautiful, who are sexy. Like, they don't care for them. Look, I've had experiences in which that is the truth. And it's unfortunate. I'm not saying all, but there is a group of older black women who could care the fuck less and who are hating on younger, fresher, more fashionable black women in the workplace. And you have to navigate yourself in that. And it's hard. It's hard because they're in a position where, of course, they're at the job longer. They may have gatekeeping positions, right? They may be able to just connect you with someone or disconnect you with someone. And they could simply do so based off of their like or dislike for you, right? So if they immediately see you looking you up and down, like that rainbow hair girl, looking at me up and down, sizing me up. Mind you, she's not even in her, she doesn't look like she's in her 40s. She looks like she's probably 38 specifically. And I felt like she was looking at me like I'm just, okay, who she thinks she is type of thing. Like, oh, okay, she thinks she's cute type of thing. Yo, that shit is real and it's horrible. It's horrible. But I'm speaking truth to that. Like, I'm speaking light to that because you do have a group of these older, again, not all of them, but there's a group of them that is sprinkled in every workplace that hate on, okay? They hate on women like me. They hate on women like me who give a fuck. Right? Who wants to wear makeup to work? I'm not saying every day, but like I'm gonna look my best. I'm not gonna roll out of bed. Like some of y'all, sometimes they look like they rolled out of bed. Did you clean the crust out of your eye? What's going on? Child, anyway, so I sent that email. She responded a couple of hours later. No, I sent it to her actually literally the same day. Like, I had the interview at 3. I sent her that email at 8. Like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night that day. Like, yeah, I made up my mind. I do not want to continue this process. This is not the job for me. Absolutely not. And so she responded the following morning saying, no worries. I wish you all the best. So that was that. So that is how you say no to the hiring process. If it does not align with your career goals, if it does not make you feel good, if you realize that this is not the environment for me, this environment will not make me feel supported, and it will not help me to excel in my role, don't fucking waste your time. And don't walk in there on this like desperate ass energy, hoping and praying that they'll like me. Do you like me? No, I don't give a fuck if you don't like me. I mean, I do, but like, essentially, don't walk into any situation desperate. Okay? Even if you are desperate, right? Considering that, okay, yes, it would be nice to have ongoing income. It would be nice to have that stability, da, da, da. I'm still going to believe that I'm that girl. Doors are opening for me. The right door and the right opportunity will come my way, and I do not have to settle for something like that. I do not have to be desperate for that. I do not have to have that desperate energy weighing on me, because no, like Beyonce says, I'm that girl. Okay, and I want everyone to feel that way about themselves, no matter what situation you're in, no matter what position you may be in right now. If you too are going through a job transition and you're looking for new opportunities and you're receiving a lot of no's, or now you're finally receiving an influx of yeses, let yourself still be reminded that you're that girl or you're that guy. Shout out to my 77% male listeners. You're that guy, you're that man, you're that boss. Like, no, I will accept what's right for me, and what's right for me will come to me, and I'll accept it with open arms. But, just have that confidence. Don't let any dry season make you feel like you have to settle and be desperate for a position that you already know you're not going to be happy in. I already know that had I continued in the hiring process and they offer me the position, okay, cool, I got an offer, great, I have a stable job. But okay, I'm in another position, I'm in another workplace that may not be exactly like my previous workplace. Like, my previous workplace, if you want to compare, like, it is better in that essence of collaboration and more of a conducive work environment and yada, 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 more structure there. But, in transitioning to a new position, you have to deal with the newness of it. But knowing that the areas that I prefer in a workplace, like collaboration, support, clarity, all of that, knowing that is not seeming to be present in this position and in this workplace, it's not going to be a happy experience for me. It's not going to be a happy work experience. So I say all that to say, you don't want to go into a whole new work experience, so desperate to go into finally a work experience, finally some stability, just to know that you're not going to be happy in it. Like, it's just not, it doesn't make sense. Like, why do that? You left your previous, I left my previous position, not only because I wasn't happy, but like, I wanted to finally move forward into my career goals, into moving more into what is aligning with what I want career-wise. And there was no opportunity for that in my previous role, and I was ready to just move the fuck on. So anyway, say all that to say, repeat to yourself, I'm that girl. Or for my male listeners, I'm that man, okay? I'm that guy. All right, you guys, I'm going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at God Built This Podcast. And, tell a friend to tell a friend. And I will check in with you guys next time. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of God Built This Podcast with your host, Maxine. Be sure to leave a review, give me 5 stars, and of course, subscribe. Also, follow God Built This Podcast on Instagram at God Built This Pod. God bless.